the Starfleet life with the USS Dauntless. Are you brave enough to be a Starfleet officer? Do you have what it takes?
Greetings, I'm Admiral Swart, Commanding Officer of the USS Dauntless, and this is the briefing with the Admiral for stardate -250247.1. I am the Admiral in question, and today we're going to be talking about our new mission reporting system. We record these sessions every Tuesday at 12:30 p.m. South African Standard Time. If you're an active duty member of the Dauntless crew, you're welcome to join us live in Discord to participate in the chat. Ask me questions and log mission attendance. You do that by joining the screening room channel here in our Dauntless Discord server. Anyone else is welcome to watch the live stream over on YouTube, or if you're not available at that time, you can watch it back later either on YouTube or on Facebook. If you are an active duty member and you're watching us live and you have a question or a comment, please remember to @tag me in the chat in Discord so that I can see it when I get to the Q&A section at the end. There's often a lively chat during these sessions and not every message is addressed to me. I want to make sure that I catch the ones that are relevant that you'd like me to address when we get to the end. So please make sure that you @tag me so that it's highlighted on my screen so that I can find it. If you're watching this back later, or if you're not active duty, you're welcome to drop a comment in the YouTube chat. Sometimes I can see it, sometimes I can't. It looks like I might be able to see it today, so I'll do my best to address any comments that pop up there. Or if you're watching this asynchronously, so that is after the fact, you can drop comments on the YouTube channel or on Facebook, or you can send me a direct message wherever you like. I'm available just about anywhere, and I'll do my best to address your question there and then, or to maybe incorporate it into a future briefing video. Who are we and why are we here? We are the USS Dauntless, which is a future-focused action and advocacy group that is, at its core, a Star Trek fan club. The Dauntless is a chapter of Starfleet, the International Star Trek Fan Association Incorporated, which is the largest Star Trek fan organization in the world. Starfleet International, or SFI, uses the metaphor of a starship to organize its chapters, which are local groups of members in cities around the world, and the Dauntless is one such chapter. It's not an actual starship, obviously, those are fictional. Instead, it's a community of like-minded people who promote Star Trek both as a form of entertainment and as a vision for the future, while taking action towards that future. Dauntless's mission is to promote the values and philosophy of Star Trek, to provide a space for fans to connect, and to engage in activities that promote those values. USS Dauntless is the chapter of SFI that is based in Cape Town, South Africa, but we have members in cities around the world. Today, we are going to be talking again about our new mission reporting process. So some of these briefing videos are of general interest, and some of them are quite internally focused. This is going to be one of those internally focused ones. So if you are not already an active duty member of the crew, I'm afraid I might not have much for you today, but you're welcome to stick around if you like. So first, let's talk about what mission reporting is. What is it for? So missions are, as you recall, events that we undertake as members of the Dauntless crew together. So these can be online missions where we join together in Discord or in other virtual platforms like Star Trek Online or something like that, and we do things together there. Or they can be what we call away missions, where we go out in the real world, we set foot outside of our homes, we join up somewhere and we do a thing outside, or not necessarily outside. It could be indoors, but in the real world together, sharing physical space together. So those are away missions. If they happen online, then they are just regular missions. But these are two different kinds of missions. And it's important that as we undertake these missions, there is a record of the missions that have happened. So not only a list of the missions, but also who attended the missions, whether or not those people attended wearing their officially sanctioned uniforms, and also who was in charge of the mission, who commanded the mission. Why does that matter? Well, it matters for, among other things, rank promotion purposes. Up to a certain level, the number of missions that you attend and the missions you attend in uniform and the missions you command count towards your next rank promotion. We are a Starfleet-style organization, which means that we have ranks and titles kind of sort of based stylistically on those in the military, but we inherited it from Star Trek, our original source material. And in order to earn privileges like rank promotions, you have to do things. And one of the things you have to do is attend missions. So we have to keep track of who did what. But it also is fun to keep track of what we did, just for posterity's sake. We like to have photographs of all of us participating in our missions, even if it's just us posing cheesily in our uniforms. That's fine too. So we can look back years from now and see what a fun crew we were. Hopefully we'll still be a fun crew years from now, but things change. All right. So how does the current mission log process work? Well, it's a mess. The way that the mission reports are stored is in a tool called Trello, which is a Kanban board-based platform where cards are automatically generated through APIs, long story. Every time a mission begins, it's added to a board called the mission log. Then as the mission commander, that is the person who's in charge of the mission, once the mission is completed, you're expected to log into Trello and update that card with the relevant details for your mission. This has been problematic, partly because Trello is difficult to use. It's not intuitive unless your brain works in a very specific way. And more recently, Trello's parent company, Atlassian, has started to clamp down on the pricing for their plans. We've always been on a free plan. The USS Dauntless charges no fees and carries no money. Therefore, we have no budget. Everything we do has to be on free. And the free Trello platform now only has, I think it's a limit of 10 users per board, which is actually not enough for our purposes, which meant that not all of the people on board the Dauntless who needed access to that board to be able to update their mission log cards had that access. So we had to create a secondary process. We created a Google form that when submitted would then create another card in that Trello board, which then meant that the poor deputy chief operations officer who's responsible for managing that board would have to go through every few days or once a month or however often and look through all of those duplicate cards, figure out which one was the one that actually contained the useful information, get rid of the rest of them or manually merge them together or whatever. It was a huge hassle. It became especially complicated when we're looking at things like multi-vector away missions. So these are away missions where you have multiple away teams, so multiple groups of members in different places around the world going out and doing the same thing at the same time. It's technically the same mission. It's just happening in different places simultaneously. And then each leader of each away team was technically a mission commander and was expected to submit their own version of that mission report. So then you could potentially end up with half a dozen different versions of the same mission report, and it was just a complete spaghetti mess, which the deputy chief operations officer would have to mop up at the end of the month. And it was unnecessarily complicated, or at least hopelessly complicated. So in a way, to mitigate all of these various complications, we have, as of today, implemented a new reporting system for mission reports. And it looks like this. So let me, oh, that's interesting. Okay. I've put a bunch of stuff in my notes that I didn't need. Let's just go straight to it. Okay. Let's pull it up. Let's look at the new reporting system, and it looks kind of like this. So it is a Google Doc, which seems kind of low tech. Oh, I'm sorry. My smart home decided to respond when I said its name. It seems kind of low tech. It's kind of last century because it's all happening inside a document, but there is a fair amount of sophistication that's happening behind the scenes here. Let me go through the process. Let me explain to you how it works. So we have a Google Calendar. So if you go to our website, you can see our Google Calendar here. If you go in the sidebar, go to the schedule page, you'll see here. There's also a video here, another one of these briefings, in which you can learn all about calendars and learn all about how this calendar works. But we'll just do the quick version today. On this calendar, on the schedule screen, you will see all of the events that we have coming up, plus a bunch of other things. It's a relatively quiet week. We only have 3 missions scheduled this week. So it's this one here, the briefing with the Admiral all hands, which is happening right now. You can see that's why it has this little red line through it. That red line is the current moment. It's the present. So when you're living in the present and that present line is over a mission, then you know that there's somewhere you're supposed to be. Tomorrow night, we have a Star Trek Online mission, which is one of our weekly online missions. And then on Saturday morning, we have an away mission with Tau Team, and that is our weekly park run. Those are the missions we have scheduled for this week. So when the mission begins here on our Google Calendar, it triggers an automated system that will then add that mission to this document. So you'll see these are all the missions that happened in March, and this is the first one that's happening in April. Here it is. This is the mission that we're living through right now. This is the present moment right here. Present. Here it is. Okay, so it adds this to the document, and then it also adds all the relevant information that is in the calendar event to this thing, plus a few empty fields that we can update from here. So you can see it's got the same description here. It's our mission statement. It's got the itinerary of the event. It's got here the mission commander. At this point, it's worth clarifying an important distinction between two different related concepts. One is the mission commander here, who is the person who was responsible for scheduling and planning the event ahead of time. And then down here we have an empty field, which we're going to fill in a moment, where it says commanded by. Typically, these two people would be the same person, but that's not necessarily the case. It's entirely possible and happens more often than you might expect that the person who was the mission commander ahead of time, who planned and scheduled the mission, is not the person who ends up commanding the mission on the day. So generally speaking, the person who's filling in this document is this person that goes here in the commanded by field. And it's up to that person to decide whether or not they would like to list as a second commander the person who helped to schedule it ahead of time. So I'm just going to go ahead and fill that in right now. So there I am, commanded by Swart. That's me, Admiral Swart. Then we need a roll call of who attended. So before we started earlier, I began a little a mission a status report. There we go. Let's pull it up here. Okay, I'm not going to show you this on the screen. I'm just going to have to do it. I'm going to take a little screenshot of this. I don't want to show you my Discord screen, and I'm going to drop it here into Gemini. I'm going to ask Gemini to read the screenshot for me. Gemini, extract the text from this image and list the names by last name only. Okay, you can use any AI assistant for this. They're all pretty good at doing this kind of thing. I'm just using Gemini right now because it was the first one on my shortcut bar. There we go. There is the list of people who are present in this mission right now. So let's just do a quick shout out to everybody that's here. We've got Colonel Hubert, we've got Captain Van Kroonen, we've got me, Admiral Swart, we've got Captain Reed, we've got Master Chief Newton, and we've got Master Chief Kotzer. So welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us. Let's just copy that and paste it into the roll call. There it is. So now we have a list of everybody who attended. Then we've got another list here of attendees in uniform. Because of the nature of this kind of a mission, I'm the only person on camera. Even if the rest of you are wearing uniforms right now, nobody can see. So it only really counts that I'm the one in uniform. So I'm just going to list myself there, no offense. As it happens with this mission, with this kind of mission, it doesn't matter who attends in uniform, because even though I'm listed as attending in uniform, my rank is high enough that it no longer matters for rank promotion purposes. So it's actually fine. We're all on a level playing field anyway for this one. Oh, incidentally, if you have Gemini inside your Google Docs like I do here, trying to post a screenshot into this Gemini chat will not work. So you'll need to use another another window for Gemini or Copilot or ChatGPT or whatever. They can all do the same thing. And then you can enter a description of what happened. So we can summarize what today's event was about. It was the briefing about the new mission report system, and you can be as verbose about that as you like. Then underneath that, we've got a place where we can upload videos or supporting documentation to the corresponding mission folder here. So if we click on this link, this will open a new tab which takes us to a shared folder in Google Drive called Missions, which is in the Operations folder. And I need to then find today's mission. Let us find it here. There it is. P3 mission briefing with the Admiral all hands, and that was last edited a few minutes ago, which means that it's the correct folder for this mission. This folder is also automatically created whenever a mission begins, and in here I can drop any supporting imagery or documentation that might be relevant to this mission. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop in the thumbnail that I created for this stream, which you saw at the beginning. I'm just going to put it here. And if I take any more screenshots, there we go. I'm going to drop that in there. And now that is saved as being linked with this mission for posterity. Any other images I might want to take would also be stored there if I wanted to keep them there. So that is how the new system works. It's quite simple. So once all the information is in here, it is then editable by any other person who needs to have access to it. So what might happen potentially is that there are more than one commander of a mission. So like, for example, those multi-vector away missions, you've got multiple teams. Each one of those team leaders might need to come and update the report. You just come to the same place and update the same report. You add your list of attendees into the roll call. You add your attendees in uniform. And there are also additional considerations for priority 1 missions. So priority 1 missions, for those who might recall, are the most important missions that we undertake. We have 3 priorities. Priority 1 are missions that are so critical to our overall mission, our overall function, that they are mandatory for all active duty personnel. Everybody is required to attend or submit apologies for failing to attend. Priority 2 means it's quite important and everyone's expected to attend. Priority 3 means come if you want, it's great if you do, but if you don't, it's not a big deal. Most of our missions, so here you can see in the name of the mission, the P3 means priority 3, P1 means priority 1, and P2, I'm not sure if we even have any P2 missions this month. Doesn't look like we did. So priority 1 missions required to attend. Priority 3, come if you want. That would be great to see you. And priority 2, you are expected to be there. Where was I about that? Oh, yes. So because priority 1 missions are so important, there are sometimes additional considerations here. So we have not only the roll call of who attended in uniform. We also have a list of people who submitted apologies who couldn't attend. We also have a list of people who actually donated blood. And then we have a list of people who we are waiting to hear from. So people who weren't in attendance as far as we know, or if they did attend, they didn't submit their evidence of having attended. So their photograph or screenshot or something like that. Or if they didn't attend, they haven't yet submitted their apologies. And they have until the mission as the mission report is due, which is the 3rd of the following month, at which point that's the cutoff. If they haven't submitted their apologies yet by that point, then they are marked as failed to report in, which is quite a serious offense in our system. You are required to attend, and if you cannot for some reason attend, you have to let us know that you're not coming, or why you're not coming. That's for priority 1 missions. So all of that information is stored here. I'm not going to linger too much on that part of the screen because there's PII there, I suppose. Not really, but you know, it's not great to have all of that on the screen. We also have a list of missions here in the document outline. So automatically it's added with a heading. So if you're looking for the mission that you want to update, you can find it here in the thingy and go straight to the mission you're looking for and update the details there. It's quite handy in that way. So Google Docs is the new tool, and it's very useful, very cool, very user-friendly and intuitive. And then once all of this is done, so once the deadline has been reached for the mission report submission, which is the 3rd of the following calendar month, all of these old mission reports for March will then be archived so that it is accessible to other third-party tools. Things like Notebook LM can read this document and help us to compile reports and submit it to the spreadsheet, for example, when we're doing the crew evaluations report at the end of the month. So if we want to get a list of, okay, which missions did crewman so-and-so attend, then that AI is able to interrogate this document and give us that list without us having to go through each one and count them all up one by one, which is what I've been having to do for the last however many years. So this simplifies that process for us significantly. There are also, okay, so what do you need to know as a member of the crew for this? All right, so you've already seen how this works. It's pretty straightforward. It's quite dynamic. And if you have any questions about what information you want to put in the report, but you're not sure if you should add it or if there's anything that you might be missing, feel free to ask me or your department head or any member above you in the chain of command. They can assist you with that kind of thing. If you are a mission commander and you don't already have access to this document, you may request it. So there will be a link in the relevant places. It'll be in the mission reports channel on Discord. It'll also be on the Dauntless main computer. There'll be a link there. And if you are locked out of this document, there will be a button there where you can request access. and somebody will grant you the relevant access as long as they know who you are. So please don't use a weird email account that we don't recognize to try and gain access to this document. Please make sure that you use the email address that you provided us when you signed up, or if you've switched to a new one since then, make sure that we have your current email address on file so that we know to authorize that for you. And the same goes for this folder where all of the supporting documents are kept. This also will be archived. So you see we've got archives here for 2025, 2024, and we also have monthly archives for missions that have taken place before this month and will be filed accordingly. All right, what else do we need to know about this? Oh yes, the old systems. So the old systems, that is the old Trello log board, is going to be archived and shut down probably today. The old Google form that used to allow for submission of mission reports that would then feed into that Trello log board will also be shut down as of today. So from now on, if you are commanding a mission, this is the system you'll be using. It'll be the new Google Doc system. Make sure that you have access to that. And then what else? What other cool things do we need to know about this form? Well, currently, I think you know all of it. Although if there are any questions, anything that's not clear, please make sure that you ask in the chat. I'll follow up a little later. But what this new platform allows us, why we've chosen to do this, which feels like a bit of a backward step sort of in terms of technology, but why have we chosen to do this? So a few reasons. So I've already mentioned the AI interrogation for reporting. So because it's in a document readable format, we can then expose this to various AI tools securely so that they can read these documents and help us to collate the data in them into reporting. It's going to simplify our crew evaluations process at month end considerably. Once we are confident that it is as reliable as we think it is, so the first couple of months we'll be checking every result to make sure that it's accurate, but it's pretty straightforward stuff. It's just counting things, which computers are pretty good at doing most of the time. It's a lot simpler in terms of the automation. So we're no longer relying on third-party AIs and third-party AI aggregators. We were relying heavily on a tool called If This Then That, which is a third-party platform that allows you to plug APIs into each other and allow automation to happen across them, which is a very cool tool, and I use it a lot. But it can be a little janky. It's not all that reliable, especially when systems are talking from one provider to another. They fail sometimes. You don't always know that they failed. And so if we can minimize our reliance on those kinds of third-party API tools, so much the better. There is a fair amount of automation built into this new system, but it's all happening within the Google ecosystem. So it's either happening natively between Google tools, or it's been set up through the Google Apps script. So it's all happening internally within the Google ecosystem. So there's no third-party shenanigans happening. It's all going from one Google tool to another within the same authenticated environment. The authentication is another factor there. So we no longer have to have accounts with multiple different platforms, multiple different tools. We're hoping to move to a place where we can have authentication with only two or maybe even one platform eventually, where we can just log in one place and then all of our stuff is available there. As of now, we're still spread across a few different platforms, although more and more of our things are moving into Google. We've also got Discord, which is, of course, a separate platform, and we've got a handful of other third-party tools. But the more of the things we can move into one or two places, the better, the more efficient it becomes. Because then you don't have to have multiple accounts. You don't have to remember multiple passwords to log into those various tools. You can just log into once, and then it's all safe in one umbrella. And this also gives us opportunities where we're not constrained by, again, those third-party aggregation platforms like If This Then That or Zapier or Make, which, although they again are very powerful tools, they will also charge you for those integrations. So there's non-trivial expense behind signing up for premium versions of those platforms, which then allow us to use them the way we would like to. Whereas if we can do all of that stuff within the same Google environment, there's no charge for any of it. We can just do pretty much everything we want to do for free, that happens to be our budget constraint. And then it also gives us some runway for further advancement. So our engineering team has some ideas about further automations they'd like to build into this process. Some that they're working on now is they're going to be adding automated reminders for mission commanders in Discord and in Google Tasks, which is also it's linked with Google Spaces. What will happen there is whenever a new mission is triggered and a new mission is added to this list here, it will trigger a message in Discord. That currently happens. The message coming in Discord is coming from if this then that, and it points you back to the Trello board. That's going to be disabled, and the new notifications will be pointing you back to this document instead, and it's going to be coming from Google Apps script instead of from if this then that. And it'll also integrate with Google Tasks, which means that when you have a mission report that is waiting your attention here on this list, a task will appear in your personal Google Tasks list with the due date for that report to remind you. So it'll pop up a reminder on your end when the time comes for you to submit that report so that we don't forget. And we're hoping to automate that whole process so that when you submit your mission approval request, the original form where you request the mission be scheduled on the calendar, you will then be added as the mission commander to that event, and then all of the stuff will then be linked to you all the way down the line because now you own that event, unless you ask to be removed from it, in which case we can manually do that. The tool we're going to be using to facilitate that most likely will be Google Spaces, which is again another free Google tool. It's actually a tool that you, whether you realize it or not, you already have. It's baked into Gmail. If you're using Gmail, you have Spaces available. So we'll be building a Dauntless Ops Google Space there, which will be the catalyst for a lot of these automations. You'll be notified when the time comes, but you will be invited to join that space to enable those task notifications when the time comes. And what this also does is, because all of this stuff is in a nice readable format and all of the supporting content and documentation and stuff is all organized nice and neatly in specific places, it's going to allow us to build a little further down the line automation around social media content generation for the communications team. So we don't have this set up yet, but we're hoping within the next couple of months to have a tool that will allow us to read the mission report, pull out the relevant information there, access the supporting documentation, photos, videos, whatever, and produce a social media post telling the world about the cool thing we did this last weekend. Communications team can verify that everything is as it should be, and then when they're ready, they can click the post button and out it goes to our various social media platforms: Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, whatever. So that's very exciting, and we're hoping to make some progress on that very soon. Engineering are busy slaving away in the Warp core to get that stuff up and running. As of now, that particular tool is not available, but we're hoping to have that relatively soon. All right, so let me just reiterate. Okay, I think we're done with this. We can go back to this. Let me just reiterate why it's important that we have proper mission reporting. So it's important for crew evaluations so that we can monitor the level of engagement that every member of the crew has. We can see which missions are working, which ones are popular among the crew, which ones matter to our members, so that we can know where to devote our energy in setting up future missions down the line. And also so that we can recognize engagement from individual members. When somebody has done something cool, we need to have a record of that thing having been done so that we can make that recognition available to the people that deserve it, whether it's rank promotions, whether it's position promotions, awards, various other forms of recognition. All of those things are important, and we need to have the necessary data to base those things on. And that is why reporting matters. And because missions are kind of the main thing that we do, mission reporting is critical to that effort. And it also feeds into our other reporting structure. So I did a briefing video about this some time back where we talked about how the reporting flows up from the crew member to the department, to the chapter, to the region, to Starfleet International. All the information about what it is that we're actually doing needs to flow all the way up the chain of command to the relevant people at the top so that they can make informed decisions about the future of each one of those levels, about the department, about the chapter, about the region, and about the parent organization. That information is quite important to everybody. All right, that is everything I needed to talk about. So let's go back through the questions. All right, so Captain Van Grunen says, life is very quiet at the moment in the event that I've been speaking. I have been speaking this entire time. I'm seeing audio popping up on both platforms. I'm not sure what's happening there. Colonel Bay says sound is not working, but I'm hearing no sound on Discord. That's very weird because I'm seeing that sound is going through. Discord is recognizing my sound. Oh dear. Okay. Well, what we'll have to do for those of you who didn't catch the sound on Discord is we'll have to make this available for you after the fact. Apologies. Yes, I'm unable to observe the chat while I'm busy streaming. I have to come back and look at it afterwards. But that's quite weird because I was chatting to you guys earlier. Oh well, that's fine. Okay. Colonel Bear enjoys the color coding on my calendar. Yes, color coding on a calendar is quite important. It helps you to recognize what you're doing there. Okay, let's see. All right. Okay, let's go to the YouTube chat. It looks like some of the crew switched over there. All right, so no sound of Discord. Sorry about that. All right, Gemini demonstration is pretty cool. Thank you. That was Gemini. I'm quite impressed with Gemini as a platform these days. They seem to be doing some very cool things. The fact that they've without my consent, wheedled their way into all of my Google tools was a little bit distressing for me at first. I didn't want it. I didn't like Gemini at first in comparison to other AI tools. But the fact that it now has its fingers in all of my Google Pies actually is fine. It's really not that big a deal. Importance of the reporting of multi-vector away missions. Yes. Interrogate this document is a great phase. Yes, I do like to use a great turn of phrase. Reducing the third-party tech footprint is so much better in reducing security attack risks. Yes, I agree. Ideally, if we could have all of our authentication happening through one place, if it was just through Google, that would be great. Unfortunately, Google doesn't currently have a tool that looks anything like Discord. Google Spaces is probably about as close as it gets. And if for whatever reason we had to stop using Discord tomorrow, Google Spaces is probably where we would migrate to, but it's just nowhere near as good as Discord. Google also doesn't currently have a social media platform. I miss Google Plus, which was great. I loved Google Plus. It's rest in peace. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok are where all of that stuff happens now, and there's just no way around that at the moment. And yeah, that's just how that is. So ideally, we would like to have all of our authentication happening through one place, but the world just doesn't work that way for the most part. But the most we can minimize our reliance on third-party tools, especially third-party platforms that like to charge us money or perhaps are not as secure. The big name platforms tend to be a bit more secure. So the Googles, the Metas, the Amazons, those sorts of companies tend to have the resources to build more security into their authentication systems. So if we're using them more often than small players like Atlassian, I mean, I know Atlassian is a popular enterprise solution, but frankly, compared to Google, they're nothing. So the more we can depend on those kinds of players instead of the small fry, probably the better. Discord, I think, seems to be relatively secure. I know people do get hacked from time to time, but that happens everywhere. But it seems to be a relatively secure place, especially if you've got your multi-factor authentication set up. Okay, we're getting into the weeds about tech stuff. All right, let us wrap this up. This has been a relatively quick one, especially since there was no audio in Discord. Again, sorry about that, people, but you'll be able to catch up on YouTube afterwards. So mission reporting, very important. We need to have that information in order to make sure that we can make informed choices as people in various levels of authority. It's also very important so that we can make sure that people receive the recognition that they deserve. And I would like to encourage all mission commanders to fully embrace this new system. Take a look through, scroll around, mess around with it. Again, it's a document, and it's a live editing document. So please try not to mess around with anybody else's stuff. But if somebody else's stuff gets messed around, there is a full history of all edits. So we can just roll back to a previous version. It's not the end of the world. So mess around with it, play with it, see if you can make it do what you want it to do. If you have any suggestions or requests about ways in which we can upgrade our automation in future, we would like to look at those. But I think that is all we can do for now. So by embracing these enhanced mission report procedures, we are actively contributing to the ongoing development of our internal systems and creating a more effective and responsible organization. This commitment to our growth, both as individual members and as an organization, directly supports both our personal development and our overall mission readiness. Ultimately, this ensures that the USS Dauntless will continue to develop as a dynamic community dedicated to upholding the values of Star Trek. That is all for today. You are dismissed. Swart out.